What's up everyone, welcome back to the Durbin Compound. If you haven't met me already, my name is Devin Durbin. Today we are going to go over the simple operation of a water softener. So this was a video that was requested that I do. We're going to get down and dirty a little Barney style on exactly how a water softener works. So any water softener has two basic components. If it is a sediment water softener, you're going to have your actual water softening unit with your resin tower. Some designs are different. Some come in a boxed unit, some come in big towers, some are huge, some are small. It depends on the manufacturer on what it actually looks like. So you'll have your main water softener with your resin tank, and then you're going to have your brine tank. So I'll go over the basic operation of this. Basically, hard water comes into the water softener. This column here is filled with resin beads. The water goes down through the resin beads, and those resin beads pull out all that sediment inside your water, out of the water. Now it comes back up as soft water, which will have a little bit of salt in it, but not a whole lot. But it should have all of its sediment removed, and it comes out the soft side. So it's basically taking all those hard sediments and iron and rust and all the things that would be in that aquifer underneath the ground, taking all that out of the water before it gets to your tap. So a lot of people, they see a water softener in their basement. Maybe they bought a house and they don't know exactly what is going on with this system. So this is a system that always needs to be kept full of salt, because salt is used as for the process of regenerating these resin balls or the resin media. So what happens is you should have a brine tank. You should have a tank full of water. So that tank full of water, you should usually never see the water, but in some designs you do. What happens is when this thing regenerates and wants to wash off those resin beads, it takes that brine water, which is full of salt, and rinses off those beads. So basically it pumps water into the brine tank, dissolves all that salt, and then pumps it through the resin beads and cleans it off. So these things are very simple operating. They have little small gears in them. So depending on what kind of water softener you have, you might have different kind of controls. You can set when this thing regenerates. Mine right now is set at 800 gallons. It will regenerate. So I have 276 gallons remaining before it goes through a regeneration cycle. So I'm going to bring the camera over. We're going to look inside the brine tank. Alright, so this is taking the cover off the brine tank. We have a container full of salt here. So you will see, if you look on a regular brine tank, there's only one tube that goes in and out of it. So this one tube puts water in here, dissolves the salt underneath at the bottom, and then it will pull that salty water back out, and then it will clean out the resin balls in this tank here. So that's a simple demonstration of exactly what it does. I have a separate sediment filter afterwards to catch anything that's gone through. So I think what would be nice to include in this video is a quick rundown. Maybe let's put this on a chalkboard or something, on a whiteboard, so that we can see exactly what I'm trying to explain here. Make sure everybody's got it. I'm going to show you a different way of looking at it, but that's basically rundown. Brine tank water softener, and that's what it does. Regenerates that resin media and renews it so that it cleans again, and all of that crap water is washed down the drain. So let's go let's go upstairs to the chalkboard, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about on paper or on the wall. So stay tuned. Alright, so midway through the video, I realized I have a chalkboard up here, so I can use this in my office. So I'm finally going back to my roots where when I first started on the channel. So I'm going back to my roots. Alright, so let's start with basic explanation here. This well goes down and into an aquifer in the ground. If you don't know it, I hope that's in frame. I hope it is. Who cares if it's not? But the aquifer is basically a water pocket in the ground, in the Earth's crust. Blah, 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 blah. If you want to learn more about that, Google it. the well pump, or the well casing goes down into the aquifer, and then you have a submersible pump that's ideally a couple feet off of the ground in the bottom of the aquifer. So you could just imagine all that groundwater that's down there is going to be dirty. So depending on where you are, where your well is drilled, you might have a sulfur, like an egg smell. Sulfur is treated differently than what we're talking about right now. Usually the way to treat sulfur is they inject bleach into it and then clean it out, stuff like that. So getting back to this setup, this is for iron and sediment. So if you usually just have that rusty type smell, or that kind of rusty taste, tastes like pennies or something like that, then you have iron in your water. If you're getting red staining and stuff like that, that is what this kind of system will alleviate. So the submersible pump is down here at the bottom. It goes all the way down with your wires. So if you look in the yard, you have the top of your well casing kind of looks like this, kind of looks like a mushroom, right? And then it has a bunch of writing and scribbling and stuff like that. Now what that does is literally just provide a path for your electric to come over. So if it looks like this from the side, okay, you have your well casing go down here, and then you have your conduit for your wires, and literally all they're doing is the wires are coming out here so they can go to your house. That's all that head is on that casing. And it's also to be able to inspect it or whatever. Sometimes people will say, hey, you can pour bleach down your well. I don't believe in that. I think you should just keep it the way it is. Now your water line is going to come out below your frost line. So depending on where you're at in the country, your frost line is going to be different. Ours here is about 3.5 feet, 4 feet. Your water line is going to come off. So after we go into the house, you see the house over here. After you go into the house, let's say this is into your basement, right? Okay, this is a whole house filter. Sometimes you will have a whole house filter, sometimes you don't. But what these are designed to do is take out that sediment, take out those big particles that are in the water, so that you don't clog up the fine little orifices and stuff like that in your water softener. So your hard water comes through and goes into your softener. So this is what I couldn't explain in the basement, is your resin beads, okay? So you have, depending on what manufacturer you have and the design, these are all different. So it might be a little box on the floor, it might be a tall tower like mine, but the concept is all the same. The smaller your unit, the smaller capacity you have with those resin beads. So you could just imagine how many resin beads you can pack into my tall tower you just saw, versus a little box water softener where you might have just maybe a 5-gallon bucket or a 3-gallon bucket worth of beads in there. So all this does is run water through here and out, and all it's doing is running that water through those resin beads, and those resin beads draw out all those sediments and all that crap that you don't want in your water, all that iron, all the calcium and things that would otherwise be just, clogging up stuff, clogging up your aerators at your sink and all those things. So as time goes on, and it depends on the manufacturer on how often they regenerate, you can regenerate more often, or I think mine is set at 800 gallons. So regenerate 800 gallons, all it is doing is taking this salt, like I said downstairs, there's a little tube that goes into your brine tank. So some brine tanks are all inclusive in a unit, and some have a separate brine tank with your salts. It pumps the water over, you get salt water, and then it dissolves that salt at the bottom, and there'll be a lot of water in the bottom, and then it sucks that salt water back out and rinses all of these resin beads. And as it rinses all these resin beads, as it's doing that, it will pump all of that stuff and all that nasty stuff that it rinsed off the resin beads, it pumps it out into a drain. So you're going to have 3 main connections or 4 main connections on your softener if you have an external brine tank. You're going to have your hard water coming in, your soft water going out, a drain, and then you're going to have a tube going to your brine tank. So just keep in mind that brine tank has to be full of water, or has to be full of salt. So if you do not have salt in your brine tank, you are not properly rinsing these resin beads. So that is why your water is just getting nasty. So I hope that was a quick down and dirty video, kind of break it down Barney style for those who don't know anything about water softeners. Just remember, sometimes they sell a salt that is iron out salt. That's designed specifically for iron, so that you get that red out, or that staining in your toilet, all of those things. So just keep in mind that this is a living being in your basement, and if you do own one, you need to keep up with regular maintenance on it by adding salt and being cognizant of your water and what it tastes like, and if there's something going wrong with it, hey, say something. So my wife will come to me and say, hey, the water at the sink smells like eggs. Okay, cool, I forgot to put salt in it. Or I'll go down there. And another thing that can happen here in the brine tank is you have this brine tank and you have it full of salt. Okay, we'll just say this is all salt. Now when the water is pumped down in through here, let's say the tube goes in the side and it gets pumped down to the bottom. Now what that can do is that can bridge. They call it salt bridging. So what that does is it erodes all that salt away, and then it creates a dam where that salt can't fall down. So all this is salt and all this is water. So every time it's regenerating, it's just regenerating with water, just as if it was empty and there was no salt in it. So then that's when you have to take a stick or something and poke this down to break all this salt down to fill this void. So it's called salt bridging. So if you physically look at it and you're like, no, I don't see anything wrong with it, you might want to give it a little pokesies and see if you have a bridging issue going on. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was not too Barney style, but I just wanted to get the information out there. I know this was a requested video, and if you like my content, please subscribe. I'd love to see you around the channel. Give me that thumbs up, and if you got any questions, hit me in the comments. Just like the internet, you put the content out there and everybody tells you what's wrong about it. So hit me in the comments, we'll have a discussion about it, and as always, we'll see you guys next video.